Again about this, thanks again for tuning in to yet another video of Infamous, coming at you live from the West Coast yet again, San Jose, California. Somehow I thought this was the 2025. I guess they call it a Sports Scout or something like that. They changed it. I think the Rogue was discontinued, but I am on the Rogue now. So the one I was trying to get onto, I believe, is now called a Sports Scout. It has the same fairing on the front, so that's why I kind of got it a little bit mistaken, or that's why I'm a little mistaken on it. So this is an old model, I believe. Like I said, I think this is discontinued. The old controls, I was looking at some of the controls and they've changed quite a bit. They've changed the controls, they've changed the overall aesthetics of the engine as well, so it doesn't look the same. It looks a little bit more beefier, it looks a little bit more aggressive. I really like the changes, so maybe this would be a little refresher on the 2024s versus the 2025s, probably. So we are going to we're gonna try to get people to stop. Let's see if they're gonna stop though. All right, here you go, here you go. All right, this is a little. All right, here we go. All right, so anyways, since this is a refresher video, I guess, for the demo event here at Spirit Motorcycles in San Jose, California, of course. So overall, they just kind of gave us a little bit of a run through of what to expect and the staggered formation, and just kind of seeing if people were comfortable with the controls and stuff like that. I think for the most part, a lot of the people know how to start these bikes and operate these bikes, but there's been a few times where, you know, there is newer riders or inexperienced riders, I would say. And for those guys, if you don't have the experience to be out here in these demo events, I'd say still show up, but pick the smallest bike. All right, so this is, like I said, this is the Scout. So anything in the Scout lineup would be good for you to start on, and then you would work yourself up to the next bike, kind of like the Chiefs, which is the one on my left over here. You can see that would be the next bike, I would say, the models. And if you want to work yourself up to the baggers, I would say after you got comfortable with the Chiefs, I would say move up to the Springfield, and then if you're comfortable with the Springfield, then you would of course move up to the full baggers, which are the Chieftain and the Pursuit. So anyways, as far as equipment needed at these demo events, you really don't need much. You really need a helmet. That's the main thing, and they always recommend bringing gloves, boots, and a jacket, which is what I have on. But you can see the guy in front of me on the left, he doesn't have gloves, a jacket. I believe he has the boots, but they don't really check this stuff, all right? So they're not really strict on it. From, you know, all the years that I've been attending these demo events, I would say check the forecast, all right? If it's raining, they won't let you ride, all right? So that's one thing that you guys should keep in mind. If you're planning to go to one of these demo events and you're driving quite a ways out of your way to get to a demo event, if there's rain, I would say go, but there's a good chance they'll probably cancel the demo event. That's what happened with me on one. They allowed me to ride in the rain because I was the only one that showed up. It did get a little heavy, and they waited for the road to kind of dry up a little bit, and then they let me keep on demoing bikes. So just try it out. Hey, maybe you'll be able to get out and ride, or maybe the event coordinator will let you get out and ride a bike. So everybody's here pretty much riding the 101. That's the one that I wanted to get on, of course. I wanted to try out. Like I said, I thought this was the 2025 Scout. It's not. So I've already test ridden this quite a few times, except this has like the quarter fairing, the mini speed screen, or the bikini speed screen, of course. And like I said, it'll be a nice little refresher for me to kind of be able to compare it against the new 2025. So I'm guessing that's the reason why they even have it out here in the demo event. I believe that's probably the reason, so you could probably see what it feels like and how it controls, and so you can really see the upgrades and the improvements that they've done between the 2024s and the 2025s. And I think they made some huge improvements, but I have yet to test ride one of them. Overall, the Scout Rogue feels great. Of course, you have the ape hangers. The rider triangle is a little bit more aggressive because I am leaning towards the front of the bike. I also have forward controls on this as well, so I'm pretty stretched out. My triangle's a little bit aggressive, like I said. The suspension feels pretty good. I don't remember which one it was. I believe it was 2 years ago I rode one of these. I think the seat is just slightly more cushiony. I don't know which one I test rode. I'd say, what was it? I think it was 2 years ago. I test rode one of these and it was just rough. The suspension was pretty rough. This one, it feels like it has a slightly improved seat on it, which probably helps with the suspension because you have that cushion, and then you have the suspension, which isn't all great. But I think the bike overall looks fantastic. I really like the way these Scouts look. You know, they have a little bit of that traditional styling, and of course you have all the modern tech and the liquid cooled, and of course you also have the speedo on some of these other ones. I'm not sure if the new bikes have I believe they have a TFT display. I'm almost certain they do, but I'm not sure until I get on one. But this one looks pretty good. It's got that carbon fiber look to the speedo. You have your speedo, and then you have your RPM on the side right there. Looks pretty cool. I don't know if this has riding modes. It probably does not have riding modes. I'm not entirely sure. But this one's MSRP is at $12,000. So this one's pretty much aligned with the what's it called, the Nightster. So this is the 60, and I mean, it's an agile bike. It's agile, it's light. I don't know the weight of it, but it's coming in at 76 horsepower, which is pretty good, pretty decent. I mean, it's not 100 like the other ones. The other ones are pushing out 100 horsepower, but you know, for a light little bike like this, I think it's pretty good. My Sportster 1200, I'm not sure what's the horsepower on mine. I'm pretty sure it's less than 78 for sure. But you also have 68 foot-pounds of torque, 5-speed transmission, and you have a 3.3 gallon tank, I believe. So it's a tiny little tank, and I've always mentioned this in the videos, because you know, I've ridden long range on my Sportster without a fairing, and having the smaller tank does help out. It gives you an opportunity to kind of take a break. But I mean, that's me though. I'm getting older. The wear and tear on my body, and you know, all this other stuff, I start to notice the aches and pains when I do ride long range without, of course, wind protection. So it's always nice to be able to, you know, have to take a break. And when I do take a break on my Sportster, I tend to fill up and then just kind of give it about 30 minutes, give myself a break, and then get back on the bike again. So as far as, you know, today and the weather and everything, it's fantastic. It's like it's like mid 60s, great weather. It's gonna be like this all day today. Absolutely amazing. I took a little bit time off of work to kind of be here. I really want to get on the 101s, on the new Scouts, which is what I'll do after this first test ride, we'll get on the 101. That's the one I'm really looking forward to. I'm not in the market for, of course, these bikes, but it's always fun to be able to get on and use up, you know, free gas, because I don't have to pay for fuel with these bikes, and just to kind of see what's going on, see what Indian is doing, and you know, see what they're bringing to the table, you know, when they're competing against Harley. And as far as you know, the Nightster and the Sportster S and the Scout and stuff like that, I really like the styling of the Scouts over Harley-Davidson's options. I've never been a huge fan of the Sportster S. That cartoonish look to it, you know, that over-exaggerated exhaust, the tiny cafe little seat, the huge muffler on that thing, the Sportster S, and then you have that stupid fat tire on the front. Yeah, that fat steamroller tire in the front, and I believe, is it a dual disc? I can't remember off the top of my head, but of course it's a 1250, and if I remember correctly, I believe it's 130 horsepower. So that one, of course, comes in at 17,000 bucks, which is a huge jump from this, of course, but you also get all the rider assists. That's what I've also liked about the Indians. They've always had a lot of the rider assists standard on a lot of the bikes. For Harley, I believe, except for this year, for the most part, Harley over the last couple of years, they've always had those as options. And then, of course, ABS was something that they were dealing with as far as a shortage, and then they made that into an option, while Indian was still offering ABS standard on, you know, most of their Chiefs, kind of like the, what was it, the Dark Horse. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the premium ones, they still had the they still had ABS standard, while Harley removed it and they kept the price up. So that's just one of the things that kind of bugged me. And I mean, I own 2 Harleys. I really like them. There's a lot of benefits to having the Harleys, but I'll go over that in a different video. So there isn't much for me to say when it comes to the 2024 Scout Rogue. I mean, I test rode it last year. Like I said, I like the styling of it, the feel of it. I kind of wish the handlebars were a little bit higher, or a little bit, you know, towards me, but it's meant for this aggressive riding style, of course, because it's a little bit more of a sporty cruiser than a cruiser. So I get the way it comes, but you could also customize these on Indian's website. That's something that I've also noticed that Indian was doing before Harley. I think Harley just started doing it this year, where you could modify the bikes. But on the Indian, I remember you could always modify the handlebars and just, you know, swap components out, and I believe that's the way they'll ship it to you. I'm not entirely sure. I was asking that in a previous video like 2-3 years ago, and nobody really answered, because I'm not too sure, but I believe you could order it from Indian, and I believe while they're doing the PDI, that's when they'll swap out, you know, those components, the taller bars, the stage 1, stage 2 on these bikes, which is pretty neat for them to offer that. So it's a smooth ride so far. I think last year we went on a different route, and the road was a little bit more rougher, and I was able to really feel how bad the suspension was. But on this one, it's been pretty good so far. No like jolts of pain, no jolts of pain. Kind of like I believe last year, where there was one section on the other side, a different route. So these demo events really depend on, of course, the lead rider. So this is the shorter route. The other route that they do have, I believe it's more like a 15-minute to 20-minute ride, and it has a lot of highway. So this route that we're going, like I mentioned, it's a bit shorter, and I like the shorter routes because I'm able to test ride more bikes. last year and the year before that, we were riding on the longer routes, but I was only able to test ride a handful of bikes. But mind you, I've already, like I said, I've already test ridden a lot of these bikes. A lot of these I've already been on quite a few times. All right, this isn't my first demo event. I've been to multiple demo events over the last, you know, years. And like I said, it's always fun getting out and riding along other riders and seeing what's new on the market, because test riding these bikes from dealers, it's pretty tough. All right, and especially if you want to test ride the Pursuit or the full baggers or the Elites or the CVOs, most dealers won't. I don't know, as of recently it seemed like they've been allowing people to test ride the CVOs, but for the most part, the time that I've been riding, most of the dealers don't want people putting miles on the CVOs unless you're like a real potential buyer. All right, and with this economy and with these rates, I'm not sure how many people are potential buyers, especially considering that my insurance rates doubled. So we'll talk about that in a different video. But we're coming close to the end of the demo ride. A lot of rambling, not a lot of you know, impressions or review. Like I said, I've already test ridden this bike, and a lot of these bikes are, you know, pretty much the same. They're the same from 2024. Well, this one, of course, this one, not the other ones. So that's the one that I'm gonna want to get on and test ride and try it out. So here, let's go. This guy really going to cross the... What is this person doing? All right, anyways, stay tuned for more demos. I'm gonna try to get on the new Scout, on one of the new Scouts. We'll see which one's available. All right, life's a risk. Get out there and ride. Later.